I just wanted to send you a quick note to let you know that I've decided it's time to move on after 11 years with Salvage. Over the years, I've had the good fortune to collaborate with some incredible people, filmed with some nice individuals, and visited several beautiful places. Thank you for watching, everyone. Salvage Hunters took viewers to a world where hidden gems were found in markets and derelict buildings. John T's humor and laid-back demeanor made him stand out among the cast. Supporters delighted in seeing him and Drew Pritchard laugh together on lengthy drives and assist with heavy lifting. But when T abruptly stopped showing up on the show, rumors started to circulate. Was it disagreement, or was there another reason? Come along as we reveal the true story of Salvage Hunters' John T. Of course, T deserves the greatest gratitude. With his relentless comedy and spontaneous one-liners, he took a chance and truly made the show his own. His affection and regard for the cast and contributions were crucial to the show's success. I'm grateful, buddy. Thank you so much. Fans of Salvage Hunters noticed something strange when Season 8 concluded in 2016. John T. new episodes did not feature Drew's bearded buddy. Since not every member of the cast gets to appear in every episode, it initially appeared to be nothing to be concerned about. But in later seasons, his departure appeared to be irreversible. Apparently, T had abruptly disappeared from the public eye, leaving many people wondering what had occurred. Fans persisted, asking the show's producers for answers. Was T let go? Was he sick? Or did something take place in the background? Since there was no farewell episode or official notification at the time, the mystery just grew more complex. As always, T departed the performance in silence, keeping true to his subdued demeanor. Later, Drew Pritchard decided to make everything clear. T just wanted to spend more time with his family at home, he clarified. T's choice was personal. According to Drew, there was no conflict, no fallout. He made the decision to take a back seat after years of traveling. Drew went so far as to say that the move fulfilled all of his desires. It made sense to fans who were aware of T's modest demeanor. He had no desire for notoriety or attention. The job's responsibilities had been exhausting. For almost 10 years, T traversed the United Kingdom, transporting antique furniture and baths. He persevered through long days and difficult circumstances, rain or shine. Many admirers believe that his choice to depart was influenced by exhaustion, despite the fact that he never brought up health issues. However, T's brief appearance in Season 14 following his final appearance in Season 8 ignited the internet. The rumors of a return started to circulate. Would T make a reappearance? You know, there are many benefits to being a fan favorite, but there are drawbacks as well. Being the target of unfounded rumors is just one of the numerous drawbacks. His brief appearance in Season 14 may only be explained by the possibility that the program was pre-recorded. The show has continued with new faces since he left. Later seasons saw Drew bring in dealers with varying personalities and styles, such as Vicky Knott and Alistair Dryburgh. Even though the new cast gave the show a new feel, many viewers still missed T's cool demeanor and dry sense of humor. He has been involved in more than just antique hauling. He had been Drew's traveling buddy, the man who made hard labor seem easy and cracked jokes in between lengthy rides. Let's fast forward until 2023. On Instagram, T made her formal announcement that she was leaving the show. He finally made the big decision after traveling for what felt like 11 years. As you may guess, the show's devoted audience took this news quite seriously. For many who had become used to seeing him on a daily basis, it signaled the end of an era. Reliable sources claim that contracts were the primary cause of T's departure. According to the reports, he did not renew his contract for the most recent season, which inevitably resulted in the end of his tenure on the show. Contracts are crucial in determining who remains and who leaves the entertainment sector. To answer your queries, it seems doubtful that T would return to the series because his contract was not renewed. The truth is that producers typically move on with new cast members once a contract expires, despite the fact that many fans still hope for a surprise cameo. That appears to have been the situation with T. That's what we believed, anyway, until rumors started to circulate. Soon after John T left Salvage Hunters, rumors about his private life started to circulate. He was connected to Rebecca Pritchard, Drew's former co-star on the show, in one of the most widely circulated rumors. According to the rumors, T and Rebecca were dating, and for a long, fans were talking about it. It became a popular issue thanks to internet forums and social media posts. The rumor was never verified though. T and Rebecca never discussed anything in public, and Drew never mentioned it either. These days, rumors can take on a life of their own, thanks to the internet. Any excuse that could explain why he had discreetly moved away was quickly seized upon by fans who had missed T on TV. Associating Rebecca with his leaving gave the rumors a boost that accelerated their spread. Many fans think the Rebecca rumor contributed to T's departure, even if the contract issue was the obvious cause. T was never one to chase attention, and it's possible that the pressure of being the subject of rumors about a co-star's private life was more than he could take. It goes without saying that such rumors might have prompted a man who is known for his laid-back demeanor to avoid the cameras. Furthermore, the time was important. The more he appeared on the television, the louder the discussion became about T and Rebecca. Fans had even more cause to accept the rumor after this. Perception can be just as potent as fact in the entertainment sector. Additionally, debunking doesn't really help after the story takes off. For T, Rebecca, and Drew Pritchard, the show was always about antiques and the excitement of exploration. Salvage Hunters was successful because of their working relationship, but occasionally, their well-known job was overshadowed by personal rumors. That wasn't all, though. Another group of fans thought T's departure from the show was due to health issues. Many Salvage Hunters fans started to notice that John T's appearance changed throughout the years. On TV, his face seemed thinner. Online forums quickly sped up after fans who had followed him since the beginning pointed it out. Some thought that he had developed health difficulties, even pointing to thyroid concerns, while others said he had been suffering with his weight for years. T, however, was eventually diagnosed with a thyroid disease after rumors surfaced that he had been dealing with weight issues related to his eating habits. His physicians counseled him to start pursuing a healthy lifestyle and to treat the matter seriously. T was forced to change after receiving the diagnosis. He cut back on calories, tried to eat more balanced meals, and lessened his penchant for bottles. His new plan also included little exercise. These changes helped him lose weight and enhance his health, with physicians suggesting exercises like swimming and walking, in addition to prescription medication. Fans who watched him every season could see the difference. As well as he could, his smaller frame became a topic of conversation, and many spectators interpreted it as evidence that T was starting to pay more attention to himself. The decision to depart becomes even more logical when you contrast this with the demands of his work on the program. T and Drew traveled and collected antiques for years. There was little time for regular exercise, stable meals, or adequate rest because of the schedule. A schedule like that hindered progress for someone attempting to reset his health. Fans therefore conjectured that his departure from the show offered him the opportunity to build a life that aided in his recuperation. In other words, it makes sense to connect his health to his departure. The demanding activities on the show provided the opposite of the essential care and attention that a thyroid ailment demands. The decision was easy for T. Put his health first, take a break, and spend more time at home. We've discussed the reasons why John T might have quit the show, but let's also discuss the drama that may have occurred behind the scenes. You see, after many years of marriage, Drew and Rebecca Pritchard announced their divorce in 2017. The strain of their hectic schedules on Salvage Hunters was one of the contributing factors to the divorce, but there were other factors as well. Both their personal lives and the environment surrounding the show itself underwent significant change as a result of their split. Rebecca and Drew have been co-workers for years. Rebecca had even made an appearance as a co-host on screen. They worked together to balance the show so that spectators found it appealing. Their connection, the manner they closed transactions, and the way their collaboration gave Drew's hunts a consistent cadence were all praised by fans. Things changed after the divorce. The balance that Rebecca's presence had provided to the series was lost when she left the set. Everyone involved with the production sensed this shift, even Drew and the actors and crew, who had become accustomed to that format. Among those impacted was John T., who had traveled with Drew for years. The team was never quite the same after the split. Therefore, even though this explanation isn't entirely valid, it probably had a part in T's decision to leave the program. T has not returned to the show and has maintained a low profile since departing. T has opted for privacy, in contrast to many TV personalities who launch new shows or ventures. He's not known to have participated in any other program or launched a new antiques business under his own name. Drew Pritchard provided the only definitive information regarding Tay since his appearance on the show. Drew says T wanted to spend more time with his family back home, which is why he didn't renew his contract. The two remained good friends, he claimed, and he explained that the move was a personal decision. On his Facebook page, T supported this by informing supporters that he wasn't fired and that he had just made the decision to go on. Since Tay's departure, no confirmed rumors of new initiatives or health issues have surfaced as of 2025. The majority of what we now know about him comes from Tay's brief online writings and Drew's interviews. Now, let's go back to how John T got involved with the show. As Drew Pritchard's partner, T became one of the most recognizable characters, joking and assisting with the hefty fines that characterized the program. However, T had led a very secluded life prior to the series publicizing him. His private life was always out of the public eye. Public records do not disclose his birth date, his school, or any information about his family. However, it is known that T had been a part of Drew's life for a long time before salvage hunters were a common sight on British television. At one point, Drew recalled how he and Tay used to explore the beaches in North Wales as kids, searching for oars and boat pieces. They would sell their treasures by the side of the road after carrying them home. That recollection places T next to Drew from an early age, demonstrating the similar interest in locating and relocating antiques even as little boys. That connection from childhood persisted into maturity. T was aware of the hardships of lengthy journeys, the perseverance required to find lost objects, and the pure joy of repurposing neglected parts into something useful. His initial connection to the world that would eventually make him famous came from this behind-the-scenes role. T was already familiar with the game when the cameras arrived, and the rest is history. But before T joined forces with Drew, he also dabbled in acting. He made an appearance in the short comedy film Late Night Burrito Place in 2008. He portrayed the character who was expelled by his girlfriend in that movie. Although it was a little role, it revealed another aspect of T. Despite never being extensively released, the short film is nevertheless included in his narrative. It may surprise those who don't know him well to hear that T used to appear on camera as a character in a comedy rather than as himself. It gave him experience, but it never resulted in a more lucrative acting career. In 2011, Salvage Hunters made its Quest debut. T, Drew's sidekick, only had to face the camera as the show followed his existing business strategy. For T, the change came naturally. He was not cast by the producers. He didn't try out. He was just riding alongside Drew. What started out as cameos quickly became into consistent screen time. T was well established as a cast member of the show by 2015. Years of friendship had given him a close bond with Drew. The program had a lively energy that no script could have produced, thanks to their talks, jokes, and ability to work through long days together. Fans of John T would undoubtedly miss him. Let's take a moment to reflect on some of his most memorable appearances on the show. The first episode of Season 14 of Salvage Hunters featured one of T's favorite moments. Drew and T traveled over the channel into France, a nation renowned for its expansive fairs and undiscovered gems. Even an experienced eye could be overwhelmed by the rows of sellers and antiques that surrounded the two of them in the heart of a huge French market. Drew hurried around the room, looking at the obvious parts, but Tay slowed him down. A carved wooden panel, partially obscured by stacks of furniture and accessories, caught his attention. It would have been simple to overlook. Tay's intuition told him it was worth a second look, even though the panel was partially hidden beneath the piled objects and covered in dust. After drawing Drew's attention to it, they took a closer look at the work. At first glance, something seemingly insignificant was adorned with intricate carvings that suggested it was a real item. Drew was so amazed that he immediately bought it. When the item's entire worth was later shown on the screen, it was evident that Tay's silent observation turned into one of the trip's most notable discoveries. In a different episode, Drew and Tay visited a modest church from the 12th century that had lost much of its majesty but still possessed valuable artifacts. There were broken timbers everywhere. T halted and studied the details as Drew walked forward, looking at the apparent pieces. He spotted a carved panel among the pile that initially appeared to be unremarkable. He stopped, lifted it, and indicated a faint mark concealed on the opposite side. Tay's keen eye noticed the faint inscription, but Drew had already passed it without seeing. The mark verified the panel's authenticity as a true medieval item when they completely turned it over. Immediately, what would have been written off as scrap turned into one of the day's most valuable discoveries. T had another noteworthy experience in episode 8 of season 14. In the episode, the two went to a Hungarian flea market to look for antiques. T saw a porcelain dish hidden beneath many frames in the midst of the mess. Reaching down, he carefully took it up and held it up to Drew. Upon careful inspection, Drew identified the maker stamp, confirming its worth. One of the finest discoveries of the trip was the bowl, which proved out to be rare. Tay's modest attention to detail resulted in a revelation that could have easily gone unnoticed, which is why fans remembered this moment. Drew and T visited a Devon steam train in episode 7 of season 9. There were heaps of old train pieces and large machinery on the site. T slowed down close to a pile of scuffed train seats as they surveyed the area. He saw a little finely detailed brass valve cover behind them. He identified it. Upon closer inspection, Drew saw that it was a unique item that was valuable to retrieve. They went to a little theater in Aberdeen later on in the same vacation. The structure was filled with ornamental fittings and wooden panels. Tay saw a wooden relief with a carved film reel motif, while Drew looked over the larger things. It was a little thing that might have been overlooked. Drew was alerted to it by T, and the motif proved to be an important part of film history. Fans found all of these instances particularly noteworthy, but the Homes of Fellow Dealers episode was particularly noteworthy. Drew and T were looking over other antique sellers' houses in this episode. The interior of one storage vault was crammed with furniture that was arranged so closely together that most of it didn't first stand out. With haste, Drew passed by an ancient wooden trunk, but then T slowed down. A faint maker's signature was engraved into the side of the piece, which he could see when he leaned closer. When he pointed it out, Drew looked at the mark and saw that it was made by a craftsman from the middle of the century. Suddenly, what had seemed like a common chest turned out to be a priceless handcrafted item.